Hello. From me, Valerie, found in France. Bienvenue, welcome. In this video, I'd like to share some of the joys as well as the trials and tribulations of living solo over 60, and to offer some suggestions for what I'm finding to be a very intriguing season of late summer at this stage in our lives. Today I'm talking to you from the Belles Gribot, that little road here, and this is the Étang de Taux, and I'm very lucky to be able to live just 2 minutes away from here. So this week, and actually thanks to you, I've had a really good time, yes, a good time, summarising for you what brings me pleasure in my life. And the tools that I use to try and put those to the fore. I hope that you're going to find this useful. If you do, please like and subscribe for more. That would be great. Also, please let me know in the comments how you approach this time of life. In the past, I have struggled with depression and anxiety. However, thankfully, there must be a strong vein in there somewhere, because I managed to get through that challenging period. And I now actually feel more motivated and curious about the future than I did before that. And I think an important part of this has actually been thanks to YouTube, certainly more recently. I know that may sound bizarre, or on the face of it, perhaps a little shallow, but it's really helped me, and I'll tell you why. Because I've come across several very strong, independent women with such positive and good content on their channels, who've absolutely encouraged me to pull my socks up at this time of life and to show me it can actually be one of the best periods. But it all depends on how you look at it, of course. I'm also a great advocate of mindfulness, particularly nowadays when there's massive information overload, horrific things going on in the world, and extremely turbulent times. So that's why I try to occupy myself with things that make me experience gratitude and provides me with meditative moments. So what is in that toolbox of mine? Well, firstly, it's hiking and getting out into nature. And this really came to the fore when I decided to celebrate my 60th birthday by doing the Saint-Jacques de Compostelle pilgrimage, walking solo across Spain. That took about six weeks. At that stage, I was trying to move forward from a particularly difficult time in my life. And I surprised myself by taking the project by the horns, preparing and training for it, and actually going. I'm so glad I did. It was one of the best things that I've ever done in my life, and in lots of different ways. I suppose an example of that is that I started learning Spanish because I fell back in love with Spain. I didn't know the north of Spain, and I really fell in love with the language and the people and the countryside and all sorts. So there'll be more to come about that adventure in future videos. On my return from the big walk, I did experience what is known as the Camino blues, and this actually lasted several weeks. When I realised that I was coming back to earth with a bump and my big project was over. Fortunately, my work as an estate agent in Marcion did help that. It kept me occupied during the day, but I needed something at home to distract me too. And once again, YouTube came to the rescue. It's there that I came across two wonderful art journaling sites that made me start art journaling, sketching, collaging, and lots of other fun stuff. This came as a really positive surprise because I realised that I could do art, which was quite the opposite of what I'd been told when I was at school, and believing for over 50 years that I was not artistic at all. And so started another wonderful journey, creating my first art journal, which I started in January 2023, which has become one of my most treasured possessions. And I've just about finished the last page of that art journal, which I'm going to share now some of my early pages with you, some of my favourite early pages. Here it is, my little treasure book. My sketchbook, well, it's a sketchbook, but it became my art journal. And it just shows that you don't need anything very special. Very basic, poor quality paper. And I started very simple and learnt quite a lot along the way. So this is the first page I wanted to show you. Oh. I like this page because it's full of colour. And in fact, just to explain what it is, I'd made some stencils and masks that I wanted to check out, and I'd also made some spray paints. So I was just using all of those to find out more about making stamps. This was a stamp that I made out of felt. This was a mask that I made with a glue gun, and that's the same, and that's the same. And just learning how to do mark making. That's also a stamp made out of felt. All sorts of fun going on there. This next page, I really got into things here. On this page, I'd use so many different products. There's wax on there, there's acrylic paints, there's pencil, biro. It feels lovely. And this one, I'm a great admirer of Frida Kahlo. And I saw this little sketch online and I just loved it. So I printed it off and I copied it. And this is a poem that I really like. And I thought I might read it to you actually. After a while, you learn the subtle difference between holding a hand and chaining a soul. And you learn that love doesn't mean leaning and company doesn't mean security. And you begin to learn that kisses aren't contracts and presents aren't promises. And you begin to accept your defeats with your head up and your eyes open, with the grace of a woman, not the grief of a child. And you learn to build all your roads on today because tomorrow's ground is too uncertain for plans. And futures have a way of falling down in mid-flight. After a while, you learn even sunshine burns if you get too much. So you plant your own garden and decorate your own soul instead of waiting for someone to bring you flowers. And you learn that you really can endure and that you really are strong and you really do have worth. And you learn and you learn. With every goodbye, you learn. That's by Veronica A. Schofstall. Oh, sorry. I do like that poem. So this was a black and white page I decided to do. Again, I got an inspiration for an African theme. There's my African lady there. What I realised along the way is actually you don't need to worry about mistakes. You can almost always cover over mistakes, and sometimes the mistakes are good mistakes, and when you correct them it's better than what was there before. A bit like life really, isn't it? And then the last one for today, this is hiking related, so that ties in. I made these out of plastic. I drew and then cut them out. And then basically what you do reverse painting. So you use a negative space. So you paint everything behind and then you put the plastic over and then you paint a white outline. That's what the word I'm looking for. And then I just often put words on, one step at a time. Bit of mark making going on there, lots of scribbles. I don't know if you know this character. I can't see a way through, said the boy. Can you see your next step? Yes, just take that, said the horse. One step at a time, you see. So there we are. Little colour on that page as well. I hope you like them, but you know, they're me. And finally, most recently, I'm really enjoying the creativity involved in building a YouTube channel, which you can follow me along to see how I progress. Perhaps this comes from my initial career in the IT industry many moons ago, and I still enjoy messing about with computers and software, although I have to say the learning is very much slower nowadays than it was back then. So there we are, 3 tips that I find very useful for moving forward through life at the moment. I hope you found them useful, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Au revoir.